Welcome to another episode of Ultimate Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. I'm Joe.
I am Caleb.
And today we're going to be ranking our top 10 best cover art. Both me and Schweiss have our lists ready to go. We're going to discuss our favorite cover art for Final Fantasy from any... at least from the ones we know of. There's been a lot of releases of a lot of different Final Fantasies, and over the last couple days, thinking about, my top 10 cover arts, or ones that I wish were cover arts in the States for some of them. There's just a lot out there. So it's just our top 10, and it's going to be fun going through those. But before we get to that, Schweiss, I know you already beat Tactics. I'm not even going to ask anymore.
Yeah.
Being 3 weeks behind you and then probably delaying another week for Tactics it's rough. It's rough knowing how long ago you've now beaten Tactics.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks, like you said. I feel like I got through it pretty easily though, and I don't know that that's the normal experience, because on Twitter a lot of people are like, "Oh, how did you play through it so fast?" Like I'm at 35 hours and I'm only halfway done. I don't know. I just did it. Some of those people are playing War of the Lions, so I know that one takes a little bit longer to grind out JP, and it doesn't take longer to grind it out. It's just the abilities cost more. So some people, I think that's why Caleb says it's the harder version, but really that's not difficulty. That's just... To me, that's just time.
I look at both those things almost the same. Not necessarily the same in all games. When it's an RPG game, though, that you're grinding out levels to get to the next thing, to make the next thing easier, even though you can probably strategically make a lower level thing easier with RPG games, everybody kind of knows that. But with RPG games, difficulty does usually equate to time.
I guess. I mean, it's sort of the...
At least with this type of RPG game.
If we were to break it down mathematically, I mean, time would have to equal difficulty, but I mean, you would have to do what percentage of time, or how much time creates 1 point of difficulty.
Okay.
So is it every hour of grind the game becomes 1% more difficult, or?
I would say a difficulty point. We'll just give it its own currency. How about that?
Okay.
So with the U.S. Foreign Service, they put out the results of a survey having to do with how much time it took an English-speaking person to become quote-unquote fluent in another language, and they have those languages built up in easy, medium, hard, and it all has to do with how much time it took. So the top hardest ones for English speakers were Mandarin Chinese, Cantonese, Korean, Japanese, notice a pattern here, and then Arabic. Those were the top 5 hardest languages because they took 2,000 plus hours, or I think it might have even been more than that.
So all the Asians.
It took, and Arabic. Yeah, that's all part of the Asian continent.
Isn't that weird?
Yes.
It is weird, isn't it?
Well, it's the biggest continent.
It is,
and
very much
has
so.
the most people on it, so it's not that weird, really.
Well, it was weird the day that I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get some Indian food, and it's totally Asian food. But when I normally say I'm getting Asian food, what I mean is Chinese. Or maybe Japanese food.
Japanese, Korean.
Yeah.
Which is just East Asian.
It's really, and they're almost, I mean, to
and
us,
it's just the major ones in our worldview, the major countries versus Vietnam or...
There is a really good Vietnamese noodle house, Saigon Cafe in Provo. It's great.
All right.
So I have had Vietnamese. It's basically the same, though, from what I remember. It's spicier from what I got.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a weird day when I thought about it, and I was like, man, Indian food is totally Asian food.
You ready for this? My niece, the other day, she made a little drawing on whatever those little pads are for kids to draw on and then erase,
Oh, okay, yeah. Etch-a-sketch?
And she's like, she made this weird symbol, and she's like, Joe, is this Chinese? And I'm like, I don't know. probably not. She's like, you should know. You know Chinese. And I'm like, no, I know Japanese. And not even that much Japanese, to be honest. I know like I think I figured it out to like 600 words is my estimation. So not even that much. For studying it for 2 years, there's 600 words of Japanese. And I was like, no, it's Japanese. She's like, but you know Chinese? Like, no, I know Japanese. She's like, there's no difference. And I had to explain. I was like, look, there's two cultures separated. There are Chinese characters in Japanese writing, by the way, but it's used differently. It's not necessarily all the Chinese characters because there's a lot of Chinese characters. And I had to explain, like, look, these are two vastly different cultures. Separated by hundreds of years. They have their own languages and their own writing, and one borrowed from another. She did not care. She didn't get it. She just said they're the same.
She's been hanging around your grandma.
She's been hanging around my...
What, your parents?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
My parents they're not like that, but... Well, they are like that to a certain degree.
To a joking degree that might
to
not
a joking
the same way for a kid.
It's like, yeah, wow. There is that. I can't remember. There's actually a term for this where you're around your own race all day because it's your family or whatever. So you see differences in Caucasian people for us, and then you look at another culture, and then there is that really rude thing, a horrible thing to say, which is they all look the same. So you could say, all black people look the same, all Asian people look the same.
You could say
East
that.
Asian people. And
if you wanted to be the most offensive host.
If you want, no. This is not me saying this. This is someone else.
Okay, all right.
And I can't. There is that term for that, and I think it almost goes the same for languages as well and hearing things. So my sister couldn't tell the difference between Japanese and Chinese. Well, I've studied Japanese, so I can hear Chinese and I can hear Korean because I know what Japanese sounds like.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know the words in Japanese, I know what Japanese sounds like. And you know what? The Japanese and Chinese languages are way different.
Yeah.
Which is odd because I think when I was a kid, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference between the two. And it's just because, I'm surrounded by white people speaking English. That's
I with a very short stint of me listening to some of those CDs that you burn,
Pimsleur
things,
Japanese.
like I can usually tell when someone's speaking Japanese, and I can kind of tell Chinese too because it just sounds.
I tell you what, I cannot tell the difference hearing, and it's just because I haven't studied languages at all. I can't tell the difference between Cantonese and Mandarin just hearing it.
I have no idea about any of that either. But I can tell when someone is speaking Chinese because it seems very
tonal.
Short.
It's no. There's like a different musicality to it.
Yeah.
Japanese, it sounds like Spanish gibberish if you don't hear Japanese. It sounds because the pronunciation is very close to Spanish. And then Korean is like a rounded out kind of weird Japanese. That's what I would.
Yeah, I have no idea what Korean.
Just hearing it and not knowing the language. It's just a weird thing that I've kind of noticed. Like when you learn I can't say you learn a language because I definitely didn't learn the language, but you kind of dabble in languages. You start hearing the differences a lot more. It's just one of those things where your mind expands a little bit, your experience expands, and that's what happens. But yeah, my niece is racist, so
that's great.
Starting her off real good.
That's great. Yeah, that's good. There have been a few times when we were on our big hikes that we take because they're kind of like touristy hotspots.
Yeah.
Where I will hear people speaking, and like if it's Japanese, I can usually tell. I can understand like two words. I'm like, okay, they're speaking Japanese. And I think there was one time I went to, I can't remember which trip we were on, but I ran across some people, and I'm pretty sure they were speaking Chinese because I think I can kind of tell the difference. But I don't know. I have no idea what Korean sounds like, so it could have been that. I just know it wasn't Japanese.
Korean's not tonal, so there is a big difference. Honestly, the thing you can do is just watch a Japanese movie, watch a Chinese movie, and watch a Korean movie, and then you'll be able to hear it.
Oh, okay.
If you listen at least to different things.
I'll tell you though, that's one of the coolest things ever about going to like a national park is like I've run into people and I've spoken to them like in German. Like I've had like short little quick
that's cool.
friendly conversations. Like I'll be walking and I'll hear them say something and I'll like as I pass them I'll like say like a German phrase or something like that. And they'll ask me if I speak it and I'll tell them not really, just a little bit.
Well, they know, believe me.
I'm sure they could tell from my awful accent.
Sure.
Danke schön.
No, that was a Japanese guy that would go to Maverick like every other night. And it'd say hello in Japanese. And that was it, pretty much. But
wow.
No.
Can't even practice with the guy.
No, I didn't feel like butchering his language.
Well, that's probably for the better.
Yeah, study that was a giant waste of time. Studying Japanese.
Well, I mean, the thing is you haven't lost all of it, I would assume. So you could always go back.
I've lost most of it, though. So that's...
Yeah.
I could always go back. It is easier to dive back in because I did that for a while. I stopped learning it, and then I went really deep into it. Maybe about, I guess, starting about a year ago, and then I stopped again. But, yeah. How did we get here?
I honestly have no idea.
Okay, cool. That's
not a clue.
Are we talking about Metal Gear Solid today?
We are on.
Get these notes out of here.
We are on Nude Clan, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the most important conversation we can have, though. Obviously, I'm still in tactics. I am at the end of chapter 2. I had 2 fights with Mofo and Gafgarian. I returned for the second fight with Gafgarian where he's on the wall.
Oh,
he's behind the wall.
He built a great wall, yes.
Yes.
And we're going to make Ramza pay for it.
And I had just switched out all my characters' jobs. So I went with a classic FF party.
Oh, yeah, shit.
And then this time around, I just switched them out and leveled up to level 20. So they did have some abilities. But then I was getting used to the jobs and also had to fight this guy. And I did beat him. It took me an hour and a half for him. That was 3 tries trying to fight that guy. The Gafgarian before, or the fight before, I don't think it was Gafgarian, actually.
No, he's there.
Was it? Okay.
The one with like the archers and the bell tower and like they hang her. They pretend to hang the chick.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
That one took me 4 hours of multiple restarts. This is all on twitch.tv/Ultimate Final Fantasy, by the way. So my frustration with the game has been great. I did not play for the last few days of this week just because there was a bunch of family over and a lot of noise, and I felt like I should spend some time with them and kind of relax. Because my life is just a stress ball right now, and it's not going to change. It's not going to change. There's no end in sight for the stress ball. But I'm just at the end of chapter 2. I should be in chapter 3 after I think one more fight, or I might even be in chapter 3. I'm not sure, but I just got to Delita. Has to protect the princess really quick. They're like flashed away from the main party, and then it was Delita and her. And then he kind of takes care of just a little group of guys, and then there's another fight after that, which I believe will lead into chapter 3. From what I was looking at, I looked at the Caves of Narsh outline of the game.
Yeah, it's a good outline. It's
so,
really
chapter 3. So I guess I'm at the halfway point in terms of chapters.
Yeah, that's one thing I prefer about Caves of Narsh or IGN. Like the way they set up their guides is a lot more friendly than
IGN's wiki guides are brilliant.
Yeah, they're really good.
People get on there and actually put up the guide information.
Yeah, well, I love it because it'll be like, oh, IGN guide for 300 March to Glory, and it's like, oh, this page is empty. I'm like, fuck.
Oh,
no one knows anything about this game.
The game's so classic. So well known as 300 Rise to Glory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you playing that?
I just needed to. I just felt like I'm playing a Spartan, you know?
Wow.
Guy that I knew was totally going to get his ass handed to him in the end.
Wow.
But I think you are getting pretty close to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is one that I pretty much zoomed through, I think. I beat it in like 2 sittings.
Good.
I was pretty underleveled for Gafgarian, so I lost to that second fight probably like 4 or 5 times. I restarted, though, because what would happen is I had husk on the inside, right? So Ramza.
You had a husk on the inside, huh?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
He was on the inside the wall, and it took me a while to realize that I can open the gate, because he mentions, like, oh, I need to get to the switch, but I was like, oh, I'm going to fight this guy.
Someone on Twitch had to tell me that.
And I couldn't beat him, and the problem I was running into is they would kill Mustadio, who was tied to all the side quests that I wanted to do before we reviewed the game. They would kill him, and then they would kill my chemist on the other side of the wall. And so I would have to hurry up and, like, get Husk over to the wall.
Yeah,
like,
after
open the lock,
7 turns that it takes to travel to that part of the map,
open that up, and then I would have to run and grab one of them with the Phoenix down, and then like 4 or 5 times one of them would just turn into a crystal, and I had to restart. I'm like, I'm not losing Sanders as my chemist. I'm not losing him.
Sanders?
That's what the game named him, yeah.
Okay.
He's the healthcare master. The funniest part to me, guys, and I was going to save this for the review, but like he is the only guy who died at the very end fight. I was like, man, healthcare failed him in the end. Because everyone else lived, but he turned to a crystal, and the next turn I killed the end boss. I was like, fuck. I felt bad for a second, but
I actually, I was putting Agrias in my party, and then I forgot to put her in my, like, I accidentally put someone else who had the same face in the party.
Oh, yeah.
And so I actually won Gafgarian with my Gimp party.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't have her in it. It would have been just a little bit easier with her in it, but...
yeah, Agris's abilities are sick. She has some really high range.
They're pretty good, but basically I kept my mages against the wall, and the other guys were surrounding him or protecting him. I had my main monk dude, whose name I can't remember. He went around and just did massive damage. I got a monk. The monk class is beautiful. Beautiful class for damage, dude. They also take a lot of damage, which isn't great, but then they have abilities where, like, if they move, they gain HP.
Yeah.
And then I finally got rid of my OG potions, and they're on high potions now for the auto potion. Huh? And it is just, it was beautiful.
When you unlock X potions, sell all of your high potions, because they will automatically use the lowest denomination of potion, which is awful when you accidentally pick up one. And then you're fighting a guy that does like 100 damage to you, and you have a fucking high potion instead of an X potion. So you're just like drinking swill. So keep that in mind too.
Yeah. So my main party is now level 20.
Okay, that's
which is a few levels above the boss fight.
Oh, see, the boss fight
still tough.
I was always like below the boss.
Well, that was one part of the guide I did look at. I looked at what their level was for Gafgarian.
Oh, okay.
And it said he was like level 17, and then on the wiki page it said recommended level 20, and I was like, okay, getting all my guys to 20. And they were all at like 16, so it took forever. So that was one of my days this week, was grinding up to level 20 and just like wanting to kill myself, because every other freaking Final Fantasy has auto cursor, where your last move that you did with the guy, it's automatically there in case you wanted to do it again. You can go into the menu and turn auto cursor on, and so you can draw continuously without having to go through the menu in FF8. I wish so much that was an option in this game.
You know, that
I could do focus and wait by just mashing the X button all day.
It is in the PS1 version.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
it is not. It is not in War of the Lights. It drives me insane.
I believe it. That's
insane
bullshit.
In the membrane.
It's because the game lends itself to doing shit like that, to grind out JP and XP. So it's pretty shitty.
It's not there. I looked in the freaking settings like 3 times, because I've been like, come on, it's gotta show up miraculously right now. And it's not there. And like someone told me and the reason I checked again is someone told me, you could just watch your 007 movie, because I've been going through those. You can just watch your 007 movie and just grind on the same move over and over again. But because I have to look down into the menu and do that stuff, I might as well just be playing the full game.
Yeah.
And when I say I want to watch a movie and grind, I don't want to look at the game hardly at all. I just want to watch the movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I, yeah. Been going through that. Been going through Metallica albums. I think that's really important to talk about on UFF.
It is, yeah.
It is. We had a giant argument this morning about Load. I put an impromptu ranking of Metallica albums on my Twitter. And as we know, this is really just a Metallica podcast with,
of course,
with Final Fantasy being like a superficial, sprinkled in sort of a thing. I put Load and Reload above Kill 'Em All. In fact, Kill 'Em All, although still in my top 10 Metallica albums, there's only 10 albums. Still in my top 10 Metallica albums, Kill 'Em All is number 9 for me. And it's just, there's too much good stuff on Load and Reload that I think is better than Kill 'Em All. I still love Kill 'Em All. The only album I don't love is Saint Anger. And I still like 4 of those songs. So Kill 'Em All, still a great album, still in my top 10, but not as good as Load or Reload.
Well, what I will say is, sadly, both of Metallica's very worst albums are solidly better than Megadeth's very worst albums, and that is a sad
That
thing.
is true. I would rather listen to Saint Anger all the way through than I would listen to Risk or Super Collider all the way through. I would much rather.
Isn't that sad? That's sad.
That is sad.
Their trash is even better. But they're
It's better than
recycle.
Megadeth's trash.
Well, yeah. It's
I
not better
wouldn't
than their
say
best.
Rust. I think Rust in Peace is a better album than Saint Anger. Definitely.
Well, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would say-
Megadeth's best albums,
I would say one of their albums makes it into the 3 greatest albums of all time. And they would
Okay.
be Rest in Peace.
And they're all heavy metal albums, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
of
else
course.
gets into this list. Yeah, I just love it. I don't know. I think there are some excellent songs on there that, and I think the album as a whole is better than better than Reload. Because there are really bad songs on Reload, like some songs that I just hate, and there's nothing on their first
Kill 'Em
one that
All,
I hate.
Yeah, I agree. I think.
There's some dumb ones.
Well, here's my thing. In my mind, the better songs are like adding, and the bad songs are subtracting. But the great songs on Reload are better than the great songs on Kill 'Em All, and in my opinion. And like Unforgiven 2, there's not a song on Kill 'Em All that I can say in good conscience is better than Unforgiven 2.
Well,
or The Memory Remains.
those are the best songs on that CD.
They are, those two. And Fixer, in my opinion, although a lot of people think Fixer's too long.
I think it's a great song.
Yeah.
It's a 5 out of 5. But
yeah.
The problem is
and the lyrics are beautifully written. The lyrics on Kill 'Em All are juvenile and questionable. And it's just because it was their first album. They were 19 when they made that album.
I don't know, man. 4 Horsemen, I think, has got some great lyrics.
That is a Megadeth song.
I know. But Metallica
Sorry,
did
Dave Mustaine.
Metallica
Dave
did it
Mustaine was a better lyricist longer, in my opinion. If you look at Dave Mustaine's lyrics, his songs are not as good. Like his melody stuff is not as good, but Dave Mustaine's lyrics were more solid in the early days than Metallica was in the early days.
That is very true, actually.
But Load, Reload, Metallica, if you just look at the lyrics themselves, are better.
Well, that's the sad part is that, like,
and the melodic nature of a lot of their stuff is better in that stuff.
Yeah.
They did have some things that are kind of potboilery, like Slither or Prince Charming. Like those songs are kind of skippables on Load, Reload. But and there is no skippables on Kill 'Em All. I'll give you that.
Yeah, there's nothing that I hate.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I like to judge it by the album as a whole and the songs, because the problem I have is the top 2. Like, it hurts me that the best song that's ever been written is my second favorite album ever.
Oh,
one.
Okay.
Because I think Master of Puppets is a more solid album. I think it's got bass, it's heavier, and I think if I'm going to choose the greatest metal album of all time, I can't in good conscience put one on there that doesn't have a goddamn bass guitar.
There is bass in Dyer's Eve.
It's the one
I'm going to promise you. And now I'm not saying there's bass throughout Dyer's Eve. There is one part 27 seconds in. You can clearly, if you are listening for it, and if the speakers are loud enough, there is a bass guitar being played. And it's very clear. And I swear this isn't me like thinking that the low end on the guitars are what the bass is. Because a lot of people do get those things mixed up. And sometimes I listen to Justice for All, the album, and I'm like, is there a bass here? There might actually be a little bit of bass here. There is bass in the mix. It is just really quiet. Now, when the guitars go bump, bump, not sorry, that's Damage Incorporated. I'm thinking Dyer's Eve. Dun, 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 dun. There's a part, there's like triplets being played really quick. Dun, 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 dun. There's a bass guitar that is slightly off from what the guitars are playing.
So he made it on because he sucked. That's why they turned him down.
He made it on Dyer's Eve because he's just like a micro millisecond off sync from what the guitars are playing, and I can hear his freaking pick, and the bass is dry as hell. There's hardly any bass frequency in it, but you can hear his pick going.
Here's what it is. They recorded them all in order.
And I would freaking play it if we weren't streaming on Twitch.
Yeah, they recorded all of them in order, and at the end he was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going off tune. I'm gonna go off beat for this one song so they know I'm here. Or else they'll just put like no bass on the album. It'll just have 3 people.
27 seconds in, and I confirmed this last night on my phone. It's like, because I'm in just full Metallica mode. I can't stop. It's an addiction. I am back into Metallica so hard now.
I am too. But it's like a constant, usually.
There's always a constant, yes. But then sometimes you go deep dive. And I am deep diving.
Well, and the sad part is I'm shitting on some of these albums, but really they're not that bad. Like Reload is...
But really they're great.
It does have some great songs on it. And it's like... And the thing I said the other day, it was a while back, I said that Saint Anger would be a bad album regardless of who released it. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Like, I think it would be an album that I'd probably still buy, just because I've bought albums for like 1 or 2 songs before.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a situation where like it would be an okay album, regardless of who made it. It's just, and I don't think it should be. It's like Final Fantasy. It's like when people say
Saint Anger could have been about 50% better had it been mixed and mastered like Load and Reload.
Yeah, probably.
But it was made into like this trash can sound, and then the songs they just kind of copied and pasted. They didn't really flow into each other, but the band was going through some turmoil, to be fair.
Yeah.
We got a great documentary out of it. The documentary is much better than the album.
That's true. Some Kind of Monster is pretty good.
Some Kind of Monster is a great documentary. Okay, guys who don't listen to Final Fantasy, or excuse me, who don't listen to Metallica, but do listen to this show. I say, now you might think Metallica is like this brick wall noise coming at you. I understand if you don't like heavy metal, I get it. I'm going to give you a couple song recommendations, and you probably haven't heard these things if you don't listen to Metallica. Okay. Number 1, which you might have actually heard of, because sometimes it shows up in trailer music, or if you listen to rock radio, it's going to be there. Nothing Else Matters. Beautiful ballad by Metallica. Only has a little bit of hard rock sprinkled in at the end of it. So I would say give that one a chance. If you're going to give Metallica a chance, which I beg you to do, okay, I'm giving Final Fantasy Tactics a chance, guys. Give Metallica a chance.
Yeah.
Nothing Else Matters is a beautiful song. If you like country music, I would say try out. It's got a little bit of twang on the guitars. So there's a little bit of country influence in it. And it's another pretty little ballad. I would say Mama Said by Metallica would also be one for a non-Metallica fan to go and just try out. Just a little taste of Metallica. Just a little taste of Metallica doing a little something different. Okay? Try out those 2 songs.
When I ran the bread store nearby, the day-old bread store, Masterpiece, I had a playlist that I made for work, and Unforgiven 3 was totally in the playlist.
Nice.
It was awesome when that huge solo would come on, because I'm like, I should probably not be playing this in the fucking
Unforgiven 3.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I think Unforgiven 2 would be more approachable for a non-Metallica listener.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think Unforgiven 3 is the best.
I do
best
too.
one,
but it's so dry and kind of heavy that it's like,
I feel you.
move into this one, right?
It's like, well,
start with Metallica ballads and then move up to
that's
things
what
like
you have to
Damage
do.
Incorporated. Or
that's what you have to do
Battery.
with Megadeth too. You have to ease in.
Yeah, you got to start with Trust.
You got to lube that shit, and then you can like go full.
Yeah, Megadeth. Okay, what ones for Megadeth would you recommend for a non-Megadeth person to like try out the band? Because you got to get used to his voice, which is honestly the hardest thing. You got to like, it's the hardest brick wall. Is that his voice is weird, but once you love his voice, you're kind of in. I would assume the same thing is for Anthrax, but I've never gotten over how bad that guy's voice is.
Caught in a mud.
Well, here's the thing. He's on pitch. He just has a weird voice. It's just a weird voice that I can't quite get over with the guitars in the background. For Megadeth, I would say Trust is an obvious one. There's a song called Trust.
Yeah, Trust is probably their biggest hit.
It's the biggest radio hit by Megadeth.
It's the only one I ever hear.
Trust, if you like Metal Symphony of Destruction, probably. Certainly not Hello Me, Meet the Real Me. I don't know why that one's a single. That one's a weird song to kind of get into.
I would say Trust is your entry.
Trust is your into the Megadeth.
I think the one that got me into the band was Hangar 18 though. So I went like nuts deep.
Oh yeah, they went crazy all out.
I was like, the solo fight in the song is insane.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. And for Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X is a great one. 12 Zodiac Age might actually be a good one for people to start on now.
Yeah,
it's
with the
just
times
so
4
available.
speed. Just don't expect it to be that fast for the other games.
Yeah. And FF6 is just so darn good of a game. I couldn't imagine anyone not at least liking 6 when they play it,
Yeah.
But of course, we have had a few correspondence with people where they're like, I don't get why 6 is so great.
Caleb doesn't like 6. I think Caleb is just a professional contrarian.
I think he is too. I think he's got that ODD. What is that thing? Oppositional defiance disorder?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Part of me actually thinks he might have a little bit of that sprinkled in because he was the world's biggest Final Fantasy fan when I was in high school. And he has fallen.
You know why, though? It's because he told
didn't
me.
Actually play him.
That's true. He told me one day when I was hanging out with him years and years and years ago, Craig told me, Zelda is better than Final Fantasy. And I said bullshit. I said complete bullshit. And I handed him a copy of 7, 8, and Tactics. Now, the copy of Tactics made it home destroyed, unfortunately, with no fucking booklet. Thank you. And
then he'll deny it.
He will deny it.
Deny. That's
I did find another copy though, so I'm okay. But I did get him into it. But
I know that you beat it recently.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't beat 7. He didn't beat any of them forever. So I don't get it.
He had the Squall necklace. That's what made me approach him. It was like, oh, hey, baby, what's up?
He never beat 8 for years.
He never beat 8, but he owned the Squall necklace.
And he hates Squall. He hates him. He fucking hates him.
Just like the necklace, dude.
Yeah.
And he used to dress like him because he had this big leather jacket.
Yeah, I know. It was fucking
jeans
weird.
And the Squall necklace.
Yeah, and it's tied to
He's like an 800-pound squall.
Yeah.
That's a big squall, dude.
Yeah. It's a big fucking bird. Yeah, it's true though. Like it's totally true. It's true in a few other areas, but they're kind of personal, so I'm not gonna go about him. Not like
his big penis.
Yeah. Calls it Griever. No, but it's his nickname.
He does not have a big penis.
No.
We found that out when he said that the average penis size is 4 inches.
Too much.
I was like, whoa, average?
Yeah.
I must be ginormous.
Yeah, it's like
if 4 inches is the average, it's like, we know how big your penis is now. Thank you.
Not quite. But no, it's true. I think he has this thing where I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just really picky now, but yeah, he was obsessed with Final Fantasy, like, back in the day when I introduced him to the games, and Now, like playing 10, like watching him play 10 hurts my soul. Like he just hates it. He's just hating on all of it, like the music.
Well, there are some things
in 10. Yeah, that's fair. I still think it's one of the most approachable ones. I mean, I might be wrong in that though, because I tried to get my girlfriend to play it and she wouldn't. Yeah. So who knows for sure? But so you're thinking what? 2 more weeks for Final Fantasy Tactics?
I think 2 more weeks from now. I was saying 2 weeks before, but then I didn't play that much this week. So,
well, you saw how big Chapter 4.
Well, I played 6 hours worth, but maybe 2 of those hours are actually tracked in game due to restarts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Chapter 4 is gigantic. I'm assuming 2 more weeks, so our question for us to you will probably come out next week. Gonna try to play a few hours tomorrow.
All right. You don't have anything else going on, so
that's not true.
Game-wise.
Okay. I have gotten my day job to get down to about 9 to 10 hours per day. Closer on the 9 hours than the 10, although yesterday was a long day for me. Then I also write for 2 hours in the morning before I go to work. I found out, and well, supposed to be writing. Sometimes I go back to sleep. And then, so I basically have 4 hours after work to do everything, or 4 to 5 sometimes 6. Those are nice days.
Yeah.
And Tactics is, it's in there, but I have added some things to my rotation of life because I need to get some stuff done in the movie department. So some things are being added. I'm going to a writer's group tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so now Monday has a thing in it, and I'm sure other things will be added.
Oh, I would hope. It's your weekend, so.
Yeah, my weekend. Add things to my weekend.
Yeah,
that's Monday was nice because I didn't have anything usually.
Yeah, you could just lounge.
Now I have something. So.
Well, it is something productive, so. Yeah,
unfortunately, yes. Okay. Let's do some news real quick, and then we'll go into our FF cover art. News. All right, first up in news. If you're a Final Fantasy 14 player and you wanted the Cloud, Zidane, and Squall outfits, I guess they've made them just a little bit easier to get. So I think these are veteran rewards, so you got to stay around for a long time. But so like this one for the Wild Rose attire, you previously had to have 840 subscription days, and now you only need 240. So next time we go in there, Schweiss, I think we're going to have some of these things.
That would be like 8 months.
In order to get the Squall attire, you have to be in 330 days as opposed to 1,400 days. So that's kind of nice that you can get that stuff a little easier. We should have some of those now.
Yeah, we're going to be getting pretty close. I think mine, and it's just sub days, right? Because I think right now I'm at like 6 months or 7 months of subscrition paid, so we should be getting close to some of these cool little unlocks. That'll be nice.
Yeah. Game Revolution had an interview with Tabata and talked about, would you take over the FF7 remakes? And he said no, and said it's because he couldn't make it himself. That's all. And but he would consider making a Final Fantasy VII sequel.
Oh, God.
If they asked him to do a Final Fantasy VII sequel, that might be different, he said.
I played Parasite Eve 3rd birthday this week.
Oh, not even nominated it for a Nude Clan, did you? Wow.
And there are some critics amongst our audience of Tabata, and I kind of see why. The directing, by and large, I don't know, man. I don't think I'd want him to direct Final Fantasy VII's remake. Personally, I don't think it should exist, but if we're going to have anyone direct it, it should probably be Nomura and the rest of the team that made Final Fantasy VII.
Kitase, in my opinion, but
yeah,
the original makers.
Yeah, the OG team.
I don't think there should be a 7-2. There's already enough 7 spin-offs.
Yeah, 7 is beating a dead horse at this point, so I doubt that'll happen. But he did make Crisis Core, so
yeah,
fuck, who knows?
Another piece of news, I guess the programmer who made FF2 came out and talked about why, and this is OG2, not the American FF4. In Final Fantasy II, apparently you could get the spell Ultima. Here's why I didn't even bring the article up here, and Shinra posted this all this news for us, by the way. So you can look at this article if you want. The original programmer for FF2 apparently made the Ultima spell super useless. You could get Ultima in FF2, but we never got Ultima in FF2, so that's why I was like, apparently it was really hard to get the spell, and then when you got it, it was super useless. And of course, we see Ultima as like the ultimate spell,
right? Yeah.
In Final Fantasy, and there was a weird technical reason why, and I read it and I didn't understand it.
Oh, okay.
So, if you want to learn more about why FF2's Ultima was useless, you can look it up. Final Fantasy XIV's Halloween event, which we did last time.
Yeah, we did 2 years ago.
So the time before last, I guess. All Saints Wake starts October 19th. So looks like you can get some cat uniforms.
Some furry outfits.
And you can check that out. Last time we got a broom, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, we got a broom mount.
With a really annoying Halloween theme.
Yes.
I say annoying because it became annoying.
Well, the thing is that all
the themes.
Yeah, all of the mount themes become annoying after enough time.
Yes.
And I had to disable them in 14 this time through. I couldn't handle it anymore. I had to turn the mount theme off.
Yeah,
no
I
more.
believe you.
And the area themes are so much better, too. It's a fucking problem.
Yeah, they are.
The area themes are great.
Absolutely. Here's a story that pissed me off. Titus's story between FF10 and 10.2. You know, when he's dead because he doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Because FF10.2 is bull.
Yeah, 10.2 is fan fiction.
Apparently, Titus has a story in between 10 and 10.2, and it will be told in a major Mobius Final Fantasy event. You want to look at the trailer?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's watch it.
All right.
Mobius Final Fantasy meets Final Fantasy 10.
Okay, we're seeing some clips from 10.
俺があの時どうなったのか自分でもよくわからない。はっきりしてるのは
Doesn't sound like him at all. Just kidding.
スピラからいなくなったんだ。
Something about Spira.
それが俺の物語だった。
Okay. This is useless to an English speaker. I'm going to tell you that right now.
All right, so we got Titus. He has appeared. Dream
within a dream. Okay.
ここは
What? So there's some monsters and then
人目覚めてすぐに死にたく
And
な
then the
る
Mobius guy
この
shows,
世界のルールを忘れるな
says some stuff.
パランテクのルール戦わない者の名は誰も
I
覚え
wonder
ない
if this is going to be canonical.
I don't know. I don't want to know. It's called Dream Within a Dream, and I guess it tells the real story. What happened
God, dude.
after he was not there anymore because he was only a memory and didn't exist.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would just leave.
Shut the hell up, cat. Does everybody hear that freaking cat? No, go ahead. You want to talk? Is this your show? Say hi.
He gets stage fright.
Now he's pissed off. He saw I was talking at him. It's like, "Meow, meow." Okay, I'll shut up now.
I kind of wish they would leave the universe alone for 10. And this is something I've kind of felt about
Leave it alone.
like the whole universe of games, like with the FF7 stuff. I mean, we had some fun with Crisis Core, and it was fine.
And then we wanted to kill ourselves with Dirge of Cerberus.
Dirge of Cerberus is an atrocious game.
We were confused at Advent Children.
Advent Children is awful.
Yeah, great memories.
I feel like they should just leave them be. Like, you can have something great, and you don't need to go back to it. Like, I would say give it the FF6 treatment. Make 6 and leave it alone. You don't need to make spin-offs.
Oh, you don't want
sequels.
a sequel?
Not necessarily. No,
Okay.
I think it's perfect the way it is.
I agree. Don't.
And it's just I know Mobius isn't like a main focus, and it's probably just a side team that's working on it, so it's not dedicating many resources to it. But I just don't see
that looked like some legitimate cutscene work. Yeah.
I just don't see the point. Like, and plus it's sort of alienating to put it in a game like Mobius Final Fantasy. I mean, how many people actually play Mobius Final Fantasy? I know Record Keeper
did well.
And I know that Brave Exvius is doing very well, but I don't really know much about Mobius and like how big it is. So it just seems like a weird outlet for it, and especially if it's something that is meant to be taken seriously, which I would assume we should play. I assume it's supposed to be taken seriously. I mean, it's what happened between 10 and 10-2. But
nah, it's going to be an event. It'll probably go away too. All those things do.
Yeah, that's kind of troublesome.
So that was kind of a light news 2 weeks. Not too much has happened in the Final Fantasy universe, but let's go back in time and let's talk about some Final Fantasy cover art. All right, so the idea I had for the episode this week was kind of a little fun one. We haven't done like a top 10 kind of fun episode in a while, and I was thinking about cover art for the Final Fantasy games. Now, the cover art for Final Fantasy games is interesting because they change all the time. And then there's usually a Japanese one and then a Western one. Sometimes there's a European and then an American one. Sometimes those are different. So I just asked Schweiss, I was like, go through and find your top 10 cover art for Final Fantasy games. Any region or anything. Now, it's probably fair that we haven't seen all cover art for all Final Fantasy games because there's so many editions and so many games. But it'll be kind of fun to talk about these. A lot of these are a mono artwork, of course. He's famous for making the logos at the very least.
Yeah.
And then many of the special editions are just his logos. Most of the Japanese editions of the games are just his logos or some variation thereof. So, number 10 for me is the FF12 Zodiac Age edition, at least the one here in the States, which I believe was the original FF12 cover art for Japan. It's got the big judge on it with the crazy slash in the background. I just think it's an amazing kind of big cover that covers sort of all of it. What do you think of this one?
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's that one right there. It's the regular one that you're getting right now in Zodiac
the regular
Age.
edition?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I think it's cool.
This is number 10 here. This is the bottom of my top 10, okay?
It does have a nice little Gabranth image to it, and he is obviously the most badass of the judges.
Yes.
So I do enjoy that one, and that is kind of what was on the special edition of the regular, I think, or it was somewhere. It was somewhere on the old disc.
It was, I believe, and it's just against the white background. It's like the blue judge with the colored slash going through. Now, it's interesting with this one. A lot of the Final Fantasy logos are very, I guess they're like giving hints to what will be in the game. This one's just a character, but it's a really like epic looking design for FF12, and I really enjoy it. What's your number 10?
My number 10, honestly, and this one I only saw because of you. I put the FF13-2 special edition.
Oh, okay. And that one's another kind of logo only FF artwork thing.
Yeah, that one there. I mean,
I pre-ordered that baby.
Yeah, I can order it online still, new, which is crazy.
Okay.
No one bought them.
Yeah, I know. I was one of those though that did actually.
Yeah, I one of these days I'll replace my copy of 13.2 with this one, but I don't know. I just really like the artwork with Caius behind the art, and then like the way the clothing kind of flows into the numbers. I think it's really cool, and I think it's really simple yet complex at the same time. That's what I like about it.
I'm kind of in the same camp a little bit with a lot of the stuff that I put in my top 10 have been kind of just the logo against a white background, so it's really just my preferred kind of visual love of a certain logo against another.
Yeah.
I do think that's a really good logo, though. It's not in my top 10.
That one, I don't know. I like the way, and I kind of like the purplish pink color to it. I think it fits 13.2 a lot, really well. And
yeah, it kind of fits the
with Caius and Sarah on the front.
The look of the game.
I've always been kind of jealous of that. So.
All right, so I have another FF12 cover art that is in my top 10, and this is number 9. Number 9 was the FF12 Collector's Edition from 2006. Sorry, because Schweiss is pulling this up on Google so that our people that can that are watching the stream can see what we're talking about. It's the brown golden sort of wash that's over the regular background with the Final Fantasy and 12 symbol kind of written where the Roman numerals are huge behind Final Fantasy.
Yeah. And it's got the judge behind it too. It's
got the same judge image behind it, but it has like this old mysterious mystique about FF12 that I always thought was just a really cool looking cover. And it's just beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. I was really excited when I finally picked that thing up. I had a lot of fun.
And he had that Sid
video, yeah.
Sid video.
Yeah, that part's pretty fucking lame.
Do people know what we're talking about half the time?
Well, okay, so when we mentioned this, it's Final Fantasy 12 has like a bonus disc where it's the history of Final Fantasy, but really the only thing they cover is like who Sid was in each fucking game. It's the weirdest video ever, and it's an awful retrospective on Final Fantasy, to be completely honest. It's horrible.
A good retrospective, besides our show, would be like the game trailers retrospective, which went through all the games individually. I remember when I hadn't played all of the Final Fantasy games, that was like a huge deal for me, was watching that retrospective first, which was the Sid one, which someone had ripped onto Google Video, if you remember Google Video, as opposed to YouTube. Guys, before YouTube, there was Google Video, and it sometimes had porn on it. Anyway, so there was someone had ripped that video onto there, and then one day I found the game trailers retrospective, and all my needs were taken care of with game trailers.
Yeah,
it really went in there.
Game trailers knows what's up.
Yeah, game trailers. I don't even think does that series anymore, which pisses me off because the retrospective stuff was amazing. But yeah, that FF12 collector's edition. I didn't have the money for it when I bought FF12. Believe it or not, like $10 was a big deal of difference at one point. Now it's of course dirt cheap, but beautiful case. What do you call that type of case? Like a tin?
Yeah, it's like a tin metal cover. And
yeah,
it's 3D and all of that shit.
It's great. It's a great case. Schweiss is looking for his physical copy right now. You should still have it. No one got rid of it. Look at that. Beautiful work of art. I'll show
Mine's
it
a little
to
scratched up, but it stays nice. The only crappy part is the
yours is really scratched up.
The hinges are a little fucked. Yeah, I put like 300 hours into this thing, so.
Would you chuck it against the wall?
Probably. Fuck you guys, Matt.
All right, what's your number 9?
All right, my number 9 is sort of a deep pull for me. So years ago, in my one call to fame before my podcasting days in the gaming industry was a Call of Duty tournament.
Are we part of the gaming industry?
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Of course. A Call of Duty tournament in which I won. I destroyed everyone else, essentially. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because it was for Modern Warfare 2, and I had never played. I played Modern Warfare for about 20 minutes with Caleb Craig. Went into this tournament because I was buying it on release night, and I got there early because I heard they were having like games and shit. And so I joined, won, and I got these really cool 3D covers for Dissidia Final Fantasy. And these are actually my number 9. So we have this one right here that's I'm going to let Joe hold up. That one's got Chaos on the front, I believe.
What edition is this? Just the special edition of Dissidia?
I'm not sure.
Because I have Dissidia. It does not look like this at all.
I think these are just bonus things that you could have bought from GameStop. Maybe like a pre-order bonus. Like
Maybe.
I'm not sure, honestly, where these come from.
There's a black version and a white version?
Yeah, and a white version that
Are they
has...
both just regular Dissidia?
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
you have
alternate
2 copies
covers
of this
for...
game? Okay.
Well, no. One of them is...
It's one
Dissidia.
02.
Yeah, Dudekheim. One's Dudekheim, and the other, I don't know what the fuck the other one is, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, I just threw these on. I think they're really cool. They have like...
I like that they're like twin artwork.
Yeah, we've got like the black and the white, the dark and the light.
Reminds me of FF1 and 2's covers.
Yeah.
Not in how they look, but FF1 and 2 had a edition for PSP, and they were like twin editions. One was like blue and one was red.
Yeah.
It's sort of that sort of similar thing, but this is black and white. So what is on the black one? It's like Chaos, I believe, is in the black version where he's kind of barely visible. It's almost like the Black Album of Metallica. This is the Metallica podcast, of course.
Yeah, and then this is Cosmos, I guess, the goddess of harmony, according to the back of the case. So
yeah,
I think they're pretty sweet. They've been kind of like cherished possessions of mine because
they look really cool,
and
I didn't even know about these things.
And yeah, it's just something I've had for years, and I finally opened it up when our good friend Stolas sent me a copy of Dissidia. I was like, oh, I kind of want to use my covers that I've had for years just in this fucking little
nice
old 50 cal case that they handed me for my winnings.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I really dig those.
Very cool.
Those were
So
prized possessions.
Put 2 covers as your number 9. I see.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, my number 8 is, I believe, was similar or the same for both the Japanese edition and the one we get here in North America. This was the OG Final Fantasy VII cover, which we all know, where it's kind of a washed out version of Cloud looking upon, I believe, the factory.
Yeah.
Shoot. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's kind of... Here's the thing with it. It does kind of reek of 90s CG, cheap CG. Like, it is very much that, but kind of the artful, mysterious nature of this big Buster Sword in the foreground. And like, what is he looking at, you know?
Yeah, it looks like a giant robot. That's what I thought it was for a long time, but it's a fucking building.
It's a really curious looking image, and I think it's a beautiful work of Photoshop with the blending of scenes.
And I mean, it's obviously, it is clearly extremely influential and memorable. I mean, we look at it, and it's one of the things that comes to mind when I think of Final Fantasy is the cover to 7.
Yeah, like, and it's got that little Amano meteor image thing in the corner as well with the Final Fantasy VII logo, which is also like really just iconic.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I really dig that logo. Actually, I kind of have a thing. I realized. I went through a movie poster buying phase, and now, of course, I don't have any walls that are mine, so I can't hang any up. So I got like 8 posters of movies, and I realized that there was a certain type of movie poster I really dug, which was the hero looking by himself into the distance. Like, there was something about that. I don't like the heads stacked on top of each other, kind of like regular movie poster thing.
Yeah.
I like the simple image with the, like, ooh, look at the adventure about to be beholden upon this hero. And that's what that cover reminds me of. So I don't think that artistically it's the prettiest cover. Like, there's certainly 10 more Final Fantasy covers I could put above it, but I think iconically I have to put it in my list. I think it's a really good, really good cover for the Final Fantasy games.
That's fair. My number 8 that I came up with was the cover for Final Fantasy IV, the Complete Edition. This one's really cool because we have a nice picture of Cecil. I enjoy honestly, for me, it's just anything Amano essentially is going to be up there on the list.
That one's a really good one too.
I just love the way it looks. I mean, you've got him, you've got his brother Golbez above, and just kind of the thing that I like the most about this one is like the impact that it has. Like, both of these guys, they seem to be mortal enemies throughout the game. Spoilers if you haven't beat
Yeah,
before.
one's got their back turned to the other one.
Yeah, but really in the end they end up being, allies to fight the greater evil kind of thing. So it's like it's just an interesting blend, and I don't know, I just love the way the way this fucking thing looks. And it reminds me of how awesome the complete edition of Final Fantasy IV really is.
It really is.
And makes me like it even more. So
Okay, so I got in my number 7 another piece of art that I don't think is necessarily iconic, and it's certainly the type of game art that I don't really care for as much. But I think that it looks great, and it's one of the best PSP covers I've ever seen. This is for Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, and I think it's really, I think visually it's a very cool cover. I like that they were bold enough to like remove his head from the cover itself. The sword is really prominent, and that this is Final Fantasy VII's kind of return, and I like the mood of it as well. It really kind of gives us kind of what the game is in just that cover. I think it's a really cool, iconic cover, personally.
Yeah, I like it. It is a nice callback to 7. I mean, obviously with the Buster Sword, and we couldn't see Cloud's face on the 7 one either, so they kind of cut it off in a similar fashion. But obviously, Zack
there is some definite callbacks to the original 7 case in there, but a little bit more updated.
Yeah, for sure. The graphics and whatnot and what have you are a lot better. My number 5 is my number 7 is kind of a callback to my number 8 with the Amano. With the Amano art, I have a real soft spot for Amano's work, and it's weird because a lot of times I do like the simple ones, but for me, FF5, this cover we see right in front of us here, I'm not sure exactly. I think it's just like it might have been the original cover, but it's one of the ones that's in the booklet for 5 now. It's just an image of all the characters on an airship, standing and just looking into the distance. And I don't know, there's just something about it.
I have seen that cover, and there's like a cartoony version of that as well somewhere. So this is the Amano pretty one. And I love the FF5 logo. I almost put the FF5 Advanced itself as one of my top 10, but I didn't with the dragon.
Yeah.
Certainly it's a beautiful piece. Most of this is going to be Amano.
Yeah, that's what happens.
They all look good. I mean, and I really love his art style.
When he's the best artist they've ever had.
Yeah, I've never seen an artist with that kind of... I'm not really deep into art, so obviously there could be people out there that have this, but I've never seen like that kind of style. I definitely at one point when I was a teenager tried to recreate kind of his look. It's like impossible.
Yeah.
His weird wild style. But simple anime-esque kind of thing going on. It's hard to recreate, and it's beautiful. And I love it when he does art for the games that he didn't even do the art for.
Yeah, how different it looks. Like, how vastly...
Like his version of Squall is really interesting, or his version of Cloud is really interesting.
Yeah, I think they look great.
Yeah, that's a really cool piece of art. I'm not sure if that's a cover of any of them, but I'll let it pass. It's fine. It's got the logo in it. The logo's in the other covers. Okay, number 6. I have the Final Fantasy III Japanese cover. So Schweiss is going to type that in here. We can look at it.
This one?
That one for the DS.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's the Final Fantasy III logo, which we've seen, which is kind of the dude with the wings. And then in the background, we got a cool landscapey sort of cityscape Amano artwork that just the colors of it and the way it's faded into the background, I really dig.
Yeah, we see like Crystal Tower,
Yeah. And to be fair, I like the American DS artwork as well. Actually, that one might be the European version. Not sure. But I like that one as well. It's just the logo and the black background. I've seen about 1 million of those. But I like that one as well. It's a really good cover. Or, excuse me, a white background. The black background's the FF4 one.
Yeah.
but I really like I think that is the European edition. But
it is a pretty cool cover, and I do like I don't know, just the grand scale of everything. Like, you see all the characters looking on to the distance, and it's just this huge city shrouded in mist. Yeah, the old skitty. We get a couple airships in there, and just the way the spires and the buildings look is really cool.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
really epic looking.
3 is not representative of that.
Nope,
really
doesn't. It oversells the game right there.
Whatever.
All right, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is the Final Fantasy 15 Special Edition.
Okay, deluxe, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Okay, I have that as one of mine as well, but I ranked it higher. It's beautiful.
This thing is a fucking masterpiece of Final Fantasy artwork. The biggest disappointment for me in the wonderful gift that I received of Final Fantasy 15's God Collection Edition
yes,
is that the cover is not this cover. This is a mono style artwork. I have no idea.
I think it is him.
Oh, it is from Amano. It is.
It's got a huge it stretches all over the place. So instead of just one single logo, it's this giant.
It's like from the back of the case to the front of the case is the logo. It's fucking
all over.
Great.
And it's like this swirly mosaic of FF15 images and beautiful cover, kind of like a penciled in almost color that is striking against the black background.
Yeah,
it's got Luna Freya on the front.
Yeah, I just love the way this guy creates his pieces. Like, it's just crazy. And it's another example of a game that he didn't really do much or anything in, really, and his artwork is like, it's just crazy looking at how different it looks from the game itself. Like, I wonder what his method is.
But there is something like the day that Amano dies is the day the series dies. It's not going to feel the same or look the same. Like, the FF9 logo, I believe, is from someone else, and it just doesn't fit. I know a lot of people like it. Certainly.
Oh, is that one from someone else?
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh yeah, I hate.
It's got the crystal
one.
in it. I do know people who like it. There was one of our listeners that had a tattoo of the 9 artwork. To me, it kind of stands out as something like different and weird and not quite right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't like it as much. Amano, though, is like all his stuff is just incredible.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I was tempted to just trade across the board for like a second, and of course I was like, no, that's
beautiful.
Madness, but
yeah, I got rid of all my PS4 games except for that one and Doom and Diablo 3. So yeah,
it says something.
It says something, and I can't just give this piece of art away.
No, it's too good, and it just impresses me how it's like all across the front and the back and the side. Even the little side panel has like pieces of the artwork, like it's made to be.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of work.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 5 was that.
Oh, okay.
So now we can. What's your number 5?
My number 5 was the FF3 that you brought up.
Okay. The same one?
The same
European one? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. I just love the way it looks. And like you said, like we both said, it does oversell the game, but just the sprawling towers in the distance, like with the mist, like it's really fucking badass. And it is kind of that hero's picture of like, we see that they're about to embark on this journey to this hellhole tower, where you will have to restart for sure.
Over and over again. All right, my number 4 is the Final Fantasy IV American, or I know it as American. It's whatever one we got here in the States, of the DS edition of the Final Fantasy IV cover. And it wasn't deluxe. See that the one with the black background, kind of the regular cover that came with the game with I believe Kane or maybe Golbez, one of the guys with the crazy armor. He's like holding his hand out and it's silver against the black background. I think that is just an incredible, simple, beautiful cover for Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah, that one is really cool.
It's different from the old ones. I think Amano did like new artwork, but I think it's a great one.
Yeah, I think I don't know, this is one of the situations where we kind of get the duality. The two things that I love with the cover art is like the simpleness with the colors, but like silver and black look really cool, but we also get the really cool artwork.
Note that none of the ones that we've put up have been the regular editions of anything from FF10 on.
Yeah, keep that
or
in mind.
FF9 on, probably, I would guess, or 8 on. We love the Japanese know what they're doing because most of their Final Fantasy covers are just the logo against a plain background.
Yeah.
And like it makes Final Fantasy kind of like this simple, beautiful, sacred thing almost, you know? Like the feeling that you get when you're like, oh, I'm going to come into something interesting and mysterious. And then the FF10 artwork is like, like it's just some CG dude standing in the water.
Yeah, it's not.
Or the FF15 regular artwork, I think is really disappointing.
It looks like shit to me.
I don't really dig that one as much, but gosh, I just love that one. I love the black background on it. Usually we see them against a white background. There are editions. I believe the European edition has it against a white background, but in the States we got one against a black background, and it's really great. Yeah. All right, what was your number 4?
My number 4 is one that I had seen before, but I hadn't seen for a long time. It's the original FF14. So we're not talking
just the face?
No. We're talking like FF14 special edition cover.
I don't know which one that one is. So Schweiss is looking it up for me so we can look at it. Oh, okay. Oh, for the original 14 PC edition collector's edition.
Collector's edition FF14.
Got it. That is a cool one.
Yeah.
You were showing me that one and I didn't know what it was from. So FF14, there's like a swirling dragon, like a mist dragon thing in the background. It's probably Bahamut, right? I would guess. No, Leviathan. Not sure. It's snake-like. I can't really see it that well
something.
from here.
I have no idea.
And then just like the regular hero kind of floating there in the front in all black, and it's against this sort of like yellow gold.
This creamish gold background.
Scape. Yeah, that is a cool image. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, I was looking through these last night.
Remember that game doesn't exist according to Square Enix.
Yeah. They did destroy every tie to it. It was
That's
14. But I just love I love the art style. I love the like stark contrast between the hero and the goddess figure. I think the gold in the background is another really great choice for the artwork of this. And I don't know. I just think it looks really fucking cool. And I don't know. We obviously never got to play the OG 14, so I mean, I don't know how awesome it was just based on the artwork. So it might be another misleading one, but I kind of wish I had this. I think it looks really cool. And
it does look really cool. So I bet a lot of people haven't seen that one. So I would look that up if I were you. Collector's Edition, Final Fantasy 14, not Realm Reborn original.
Yeah, OG 14s.
Yeah, that's a cool logo. Okay, look up Final Fantasy 13 Japan cover. I like Japanese because it's pretty sweet. He's looking it up right now.
All right. Which one are we looking at?
It's
here?
just the logo. Now, I actually like not that
this?
one. Yeah, that one. So I actually like of all the ones that had just the character in a heroic pose on the front of the case. I actually do like that version of 13's cover. Didn't quite make it in my top 10. It almost did, because I think it really made Lightning like a really strong kind of presence straight off on the game. It was simple enough it wasn't faces on top of faces. Like, I really don't like that much. Like the FF15 one where everybody's like doing a crazy pose. And
yeah.
This, I do like the simplicity of the 13 cover art. And when I first saw it, I was like, that's really good cover art for a Final Fantasy game. However, the Japanese, once again, just did the Final Fantasy 13 logo, which I believe is a beautiful logo where it shows the crystallized cocoon against the white background. And I just think it's a really good, simple image, kind of like the FF4's image. I believe it's just when I look at it, I go, that's FF13.
Yeah.
And
it just embodies
right
the game within the image itself. Yeah, that is a really cool one. It's kind of weird that we that we went to the 13 that we got. I mean, like, if I'm looking at these, that's not quite the same one we have, but it's close.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, obviously the one on the left here with just this plain logo and Cocoon floating there I think it's way more impressive than just Lightning herself. Not that I dislike that one necessarily. I would recommend that she eats a little bit, but it's kind of makes me jealous because I feel like this happens almost time and time again. Where
do you honestly think they would sell more this is why they're doing it though. There's got to be Square Enix America. I don't know about the European cases. They do get cooler ones than we do in general.
Yeah, usually.
Square Enix America is like, oh, we got to sell to the American audience. These are the covers that they like. I don't know if they would actually sell more copies of Lightning standing with her open leg position than they would just the plain logo. I think there's actually, I don't know. I think the other one's just sleeker and gives a little bit more oomph to the game before you buy it, sort of a thing, than the Lightning logo does. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but
I don't know. It does kind of give it more of a fucking. It makes it feel like you're about to do something really cool more than just the Lightning one. Like that just seems like kind of a standard, almost cookie cutter box art where you've got your main character and they're doing their battle stance and that's it. That's fine, but it's not top 10 fine.
No.
For me, my
your number 3?
My number 3 is going to be the Final Fantasy X and X-2 limited edition for PS4.
Got it.
Covers, and this is essentially what it looks like.
The limited edition one.
Yeah.
So it's got Yuna in something similar to the FF15 stuff, only a little bit more grayed out and a little bit more pencil-y looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool cover.
Yeah,
I didn't see that till this morning.
I like it a lot. I mean, it is a really simple one, and it's like a sketchbook kind of artwork, which I like because I feel like it's bold. But I also feel, I don't know, it gives it like an interesting take. I mean, we're looking at the back of the cover now, and it's, I don't know. I just like the art style. I think it's kind of like
It is better than the PS3 one, which is the one I got, which was just, and I loved the logo against the white background thing, but that one is a little bit more special. That one's like full on hog, crazy artwork from Amano.
Yeah. And I don't know.
It's a really beautiful image too, and Yuna looks great.
Oh yeah.
So
it's knocking it out of the park.
It is pretty cool. I like that. And that must be when she's doing that must be
Ascending.
Like swirling water, around her.
Yeah.
But it's Amano artwork, so sometimes you got to look at it and like, what am I looking at?
That is very true. Yeah.
That's very stylistic or impressionistic, I would say. There we go. That's the word. My number 2 is what most people's number 1 probably is. It's Terra on top of the Magitech armor Final Fantasy VI logo where they're overlooking the city in the background. Now this was reused. This was the original Final Fantasy VI cover art for the Super NES edition of the game. Unfortunately, with Super NES games, most people throw their covers away because they got the cartridge and the cartridge stacks on its own. But it's a beautiful piece of work. The Final Fantasy III edition in the United States it has to be one of the worst cover arts for Final Fantasy. Someday we'll have to do a top 10 worst cover arts because I can think of a few. There's that one and the original FF1 cover art. I think just does not fit the rest of the series at all. But this one came back in Final Fantasy Anthology is what I was about to say. In the PS1 version, it wasn't quite the full image. It was just Terra against the white background. I think it's just a beautiful piece of work and very iconic, and a lot of people know it, and a lot of people love it. And I love it too. That's why I think
it's a great image. Obviously, Final Fantasy VI has a special place in everyone's heart, and that was his last main game in the series where he did all of the art for the game. So like it's kind of his last hurrah sort of a deal. My number 2 is actually a recent purchase. The Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age Special Edition.
Special Edition. Okay, I got to see this.
Yeah, so we've got...
so on the front, it's just the logo against a gray background, but on the back is what I'm pretty sure you're about to go into.
Yeah, we've got the Great Marlborough, we've got a bunch of the hunts, we've got Gilgamesh, we've got Yzamat, we've got Hashmal, we've got all the summons, all the great beasts of Final Fantasy XII thrown onto the cover, and when I first saw it, they made an epic reveal of
this. This is not a mono piece. It's similar in well, it might be, but it doesn't look like his. It's similar in kind of the mosaic sort of situation where they have a lot of things from the game all put together in a kind of really artistic, kind of swirly sort of way.
Yeah.
Less wild style, a little bit more, a little bit clearer of a style, to the artwork.
Yeah. I would agree. And I don't know, it's like
pretty cool.
It's a great callback to all the things that I love about 12.
That are in the game. I can see, Yzamat back there.
Yeah, asshole. They made a big deal about this thing. Like, they wouldn't reveal the special edition cover in the beginning, and like they were like, all right, we're going to reveal it in a few days.
Well, they could have just revealed it against the gray background on the other side.
I think that's what they did. They were like, the other side coming soon, and I'm like, oh man, I wonder what it's going to be.
That is cool.
I do think it's pretty impressive, and as much as I love that OG FF12 for its 3D feel and all of that, like this one, I think the art on it is just 1,000 times better.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
So I dig it.
All right, my number 1 was one that actually made me want to play Final Fantasy XI and the expansions. I always looked at this expansion, and I was always wondering what exactly it entailed, because the cover art that I saw in a GameStop one day, and I believe the Xbox 360 edition of the game, was just gorgeous. And it was Wings of the Goddess expansion for Final Fantasy XI.
Okay.
And it's got the one main lady there. She's got this big swirling stuff around her, and it's another Amano piece with a beautiful kind of teal green and light pink colors against the white background. It really just made me wonder, what is this game and what is this about?
Yeah, and honestly, it's funny because
it's a beautiful cover.
It is a great cover. I do enjoy it a lot, and the funny part is that Wings is one of my favorite expansions.
Yes,
for 11, and I think a lot of people didn't like it.
It was because of what it added to the game. I guess it screwed with some stuff. It's kind of like why people don't like the one after it, although the one after it is terrible for other reasons, imprimaturs mostly.
The brutality. Yeah,
but I loved Wings of the Goddess, and I think its cover art is beautiful, and unfortunately it's an expansion. People forget them, and you're not going to see that much of that cover art.
The sad thing is I don't think a 14 expansion has touched
a
couple of the 11
that was something I was looking into. I was like, 14 artwork is uninteresting to me, cover wise.
Yeah, I did enjoy the Stormblood.
It was
no, Heaven's Word. I think that looks cool with like the dragons.
It was solid video game cover art. Now, video game cover art, it ranges, and usually dumb and kind of like cover art,
Yeah.
And the Final Fantasy games are unusual in that, like, the special editions, especially for the ones we get here in the States, they're really, really top notch on the artwork as we've been going through these.
Yeah.
But most video game cover art's not that great, in my opinion. Most video games aren't. So
that's true.
It is on the better end of video game cover art, that Stormblood expansion stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's fair. But and the thing is like, even content wise, it's crazy. Like I think a couple of the 11 expansions are still better than anything 14's ever put out, as far as like how interesting the story is and what's happening. Which is kind of fucking sad.
I agree with you, but yeah. Gosh, I love that Wings of the Goddess. Okay, what's your number 1?
My number 1 was FF6's cover.
Nice.
I
didn't even I didn't even know if it was or not when I said that.
I just love the way it looks. Everything about 6 is pretty awesome, and I think that's kind of like the pinnacle of Final Fantasy artwork is the FF6 imagery with Terra on top of the Magitech armor overlooking the city. Like it's just phenomenal. I love the way it gives you that nice hero stance kind of thing. Like she's going to take on this impending threat. She is the main character, regardless of what anyone thinks about the mix-up in FF6. So clearly states that on the cover. If you're ever confused, just look at the front. And
we're gonna get new emails about that.
Yeah, probably. I just love the way it looks, and it's like the pinnacle of Amano artwork. And right after that, he was no longer the lead character designer. So
Yeah.
7 on was
they
still
needed
did artwork.
They needed the more 3D look of the other artists. I think it would be easier to transfer.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's fine, but
I love his Sephiroth too.
Yeah, it looks fucking sweet. Like
yeah.
I kind of wish he was just the dude forever, kind of a thing.
It's true. I wonder what the games would look like if he was the main artist. Wonder what the games would look like now.
Yeah. Probably better, but it would be like a vastly different series, I would imagine. Like obviously the gameplay I don't think would change much in that respect, or like the soundtrack obviously would be the same, but like they would just look totally different.
Yeah.
And it would be cool to like go back and create like an alternate universe, a different thread of reality where
let's do that.
Let's destroy the
let's destroy space-time and figure out what it would have looked like if Amano did it.
It's like, well, we also created Skynet, so that sucked. But
and World War III had started already. How did the connection? What?
Amano. Why? Yeah. I just really dig it though. But
yeah, obviously we have our preferences towards Amano as opposed to like the CG versions of the characters on the cover.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is like when I looked at when they released the 15 cover, like I was just like, God, that looks like shit. Like
I don't think it looks bad. It just doesn't look as good as you want it to.
Yeah, we're so used to the impressive artwork and like the grand design of things that just Noctis holding his sword and like holding his hand out, like just seems lame.
Not as good. I'm glad we got the versions that we got. For that.
Yeah,
and I think they're more in a way they're more fitting, despite them not having the actual artwork from the game in the cover, or at least their character models. I actually think it's kind of more fitting the sort of artistic representation in the Amano work, especially for the game itself. Now, worst covers. Once again, FF1's cover in North America, and it might be the same in Japan. I don't know. I didn't look it up. It's terrible. Terrible. NES cover for Final Fantasy 1. I don't love, and this one is Amano, I don't love the FF2 cover. The original FF2, and it's also on the FF Origins, where it's got Furion holding the sword. I don't love it.
Yeah, that one's not that great.
Yeah.
I was going to put FF9 in my worst ones. Cause
FF9 is
I just don't like the way it looks.
That's one reason people wouldn't pick up the game, I believe. It's just looking at that cover and being like, these don't look right for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And then also the logo itself is not mono, so it seems a little out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love 9's cover.
The sad thing is that Dirge's is actually pretty sweet, but it's just a lie.
I think 8's cover is... Yeah, that's true. Dirge, you're right. You're right about Dirge. I think 8's cover is actually pretty good for the type of cover that it is, but it doesn't represent the game very well.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. It shows you the conflict that happens for 20 minutes in the game, and then that's it. So we could have used some better cover art for FF8. I don't love the FF8 cover in Japan either. It has all these weird symbols kind of painted in the background with the FF8 logo, which is good, the logo itself. But against the other stuff, I thought that it was sort of a distraction from the logo itself. So I actually think 8's American art is better than the Japanese one because of those weird symbols.
It's too crowded.
It's too crowded looking. It's weird. FF10's is okay, but it's got a weird looking guy on the front, and it could make me not want to buy a game if I didn't know what was in it, you know?
Yeah. Although it was one of the most successful games in the series, so...
Yeah. And then there are kind of like...
Who knows?
the version of 11 I own I owned physically was the PC version with like 4 expansions on it. I thought it was just a boring cover. There are a couple boring covers in the series, I would say, as well. But yeah, I mean, you got a huge range of cover art in FF. But obviously we are preferring one artist.
Right, yeah.
I think you did him almost exclusively on yours. I tried to add other ones in there just to be like, oh, let's put some Crisis Core in here and stuff like that.
Well, 10 of 10 too. I don't know who did those. But yeah, it's pretty clear.
Yeah. Keep on going, Amano. You're doing a great job.
Keep killing it.
Speaking of killing it, we got 2 questions left in our forum. Guys, we could use some new questions if you want to ask us stuff for the show or if you want us to talk about a specific thing. We have fulfilled our quota. We are on our last 2 that I found. Well, so let's get to questions.
Let's do it. All right, so first up in questions. Question about sequels. This one is from Johnny A.M. Hi, everyone. In the hypothetical scenario where each of the early FF games, 1 through 9, gets a direct sequel, where each game's original production team is responsible for their respective sequel and roles, which game do you think would have the best sequel? Which one would have the worst? And if any of the games got a direct sequel, would you rather it have updated graphics or the same graphics as the original game?
Wow. I mean, I can answer the second part of that question. We've kind of answered similar questions to this before. The second part of that question, would you rather have it like look the same? I would like a Final Fantasy IV Complete Edition sort of treatment where they both have been treated to look the same and remade to look the same so that they kind of fit in one go.
Yeah.
But also 2D and similar to what it originally came out with. Or with the PlayStation game, something similar.
If they are going to get a direct sequel, I think they would make it on like PS4 engine, like make it a real sequel.
Okay.
So, I mean, would I rather them have the original graphics? No, because the original graphics look like shit for the most part. Like, I wouldn't want them to have an 8 sequel that looked just like 8. Like, it looks gross. Like, come on, we're in the new age. Though with the sprite ones, I think it would be cool, like you said, if they did some sort of just really hyper really good looking sprite version of the game. And I think for the first 6 games that would be appropriate, but 7 and on, I think a full HD thing would probably be more fitting, just because they were trying to go for a realistic feel.
Right.
And like with 7, like it doesn't look real, but it's supposed to look real. Like they tried to make it look real. So with the other games, there's the whole like, oh, the sprites are charming. Like it's intended to be in the game. It's supposed to make you feel a certain way.
I think 6 still looks great. And I also think that was the primo production team as well. So you had Kitase as and Kitase and Ito as co-directors, with Kitase working on things outside of the battle system and Ito working on the battle system. Sort of that department thing with Hironobu Sakaguchi at the producing the whole thing. I think that team together, it would be cool to see if they could match their success on Final Fantasy VI for a 6 sequel. Although, once again, don't think any of these games need sequels.
Yeah. I think I would do a 5 sequel where you just play as oh crap, what is that guy's name?
Butts?
No, not Butts. The guy who dies. I had it and then I lost it. Galoof, yeah. A Galoof game. I would play a Galoof game because he was awesome.
And they're going to be like, it was Fusoya.
Yeah, it was Fusoya. You're constantly misquoting that. I would do a 5 one just because 5...
doesn't get enough love.
It doesn't get enough love, and it honestly has the least to offer story-wise, or at least up there with the least.
So you could add some.
Games. So you could add some, yeah. It's not like 6 where it's done. Like, it's fine. Or 7 where it's so poorly translated that you have to provide 5 more
sequel to
games.
FF1 with the same 7 people behind it.
That would be cool. Yeah.
A sequel to FF1 that isn't Final Fantasy 2.
Yeah. I was gonna say, in a way, these are all. They all have
They're all sequels.
The only one that doesn't have a sequel is 15.
They did it. It was Final Fantasy 2, and it was not as good.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think it was a little better, but
Well, they had a story at the very least.
gameplay wise, it had some problems.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a 5 one would be cool. We have another one here from Shinbrew. A really quick question.
We might have already answered this.
We might have. I don't remember though. Oh, Wii Shop. Well, we'll announce it again. It's shutting down in January, the end of January 2019. 2019.
So,
In a year.
you got some time to get those Crystal Chronicles games that are only on the Wii
as
Shop.
far as I know, that's all they're available on. So
Isn't that sad?
That is kind of sad.
They're full games.
I wonder how many units those fuckers have sold. Like
Probably not. many.
probably not very many at all.
Did you ever think of playing the Crystal Chronicle games?
No,
No, exactly.
I didn't.
Most people didn't.
So yeah,
But we'll play all of them.
So jump on there, guys. Make sure you have all those games picked up so you can play along with us, because we are going to be playing them at some point.
We got some iTunes reviews.
We do have a
Schweiss.
couple of those. Let's jump on them
Somewhere.
There we go. iTunes reviews. iTunes reviews. All right, first up, we have Honest, Fun, and Humorous, a 5-star review
Honest?
from Cow My Starred 129.
You hate the Final Fantasy series, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
I downloaded the FF7 episode out of nostalgia, and I'm now hooked due to humor and awesomeness of hosts and presentation. Playing through all episodes and currently just finished FF10. Well,
Oh, nice. You're halfway.
yeah, when you hear this in a year, enjoy.
The French Canada is the best Canada. So we have one from Canada here. Love the podcast, 5 stars. I can't really see it that well, to be honest, twice. Okay. I recently discovered your podcast and I really enjoy it. I started right from the beginning. I am currently at your FF7 podcast. I can't. I hate it. I hate doing this, man. I hate it. I don't know why we started doing this crap. I really enjoyed the review aspect. As a long-time listener, I really like getting other yours perspectives of the games. I have enjoyed for years. Keep up the good work, Eric.
Oh,
Thanks,
you.
Eric.
Yeah, thanks, man. We don't get enough love from the Canada.
No, we don't.
We don't, but we got another one.
We got another review from Canada.
This one is... Oh, fuck. How am I going to do it? Like a good shot of vanilla... I can't do it. That's like Irish, man. I want to do Fargo.
Like a good shot of vanilla extract.
Yeah, all right, fuck it. You're an Irishman living in Canada. Like a good shot of vanilla extract. UFF hits the spot. By Nate 8787. Caleb and Joe, get it right.
That's a really good joke, by the way.
Hey, that is great, yeah.
I
That
laughed
is deep.
when I first saw that. I laughed pretty hard. Like a good shot of vanilla extract. If it's the spot, which is a good deep dive there.
That is
from
a deep
couple
pull, yeah.
from a couple episodes ago.
Very deep. Shit, what was I doing? Caleb and Joe, get it right, where so many other video game podcasts don't.
Canada.
While others may be as informative, they lack the chemistry and humor that makes UFF so great. Also, being a musician myself, I love Joe's little ditties and song parodies.
I do like the ditty with the Irish.
Yeah,
That sounds like
little
an Irish. Yeah.
and song parodies. Keep up the good work, boys.
Oh, thank you.
I wonder when his Irish accent's going to leave him with Canada.
I don't
being
know.
in Canada.
I've been in Canada for long enough.
Yeah.
Irish would leave him. That's reminded me of Pierce Brosnan in The Foreigner. Full Irish. He goes, and I believe he is Irish, so he's like, Pierce Brosnan just lets loose on the Irish accent in that movie, and it's like, It's like watching a Lucky Charms commercial. Watching The Foreigner. So him with his really thick Irish accent and then Jackie Chan when they have scenes together, I'm like, I can't hear a damn word. I can't understand a damn thing.
That's awesome.
It's like the Irish resistance. We've been looking on that, the Chinamen, and then Jackie Chan's like, hey, man, that's my dad. Like, I can't. It's just accents to the crazy man. And then there'll be weird British people from other places and all that. And it's just watching it. It's just too many accents in that movie. Just too many accents. But yeah, thank you guys for the reviews. We really appreciate it. If you want to leave a review, of course, go to iTunes.com. If you don't want to leave a review there, you can, of course, email us your own review or Stitcher reviews and stuff like that. Yeah. And eventually we'll get to those. I do have a question from us to you, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, let's... we got to do the jangle first.
Hey, the jangle. Little ditty.
If you like that one, you're going to love the next one. Right. Yeah. I'm going to do my vocal track for it.
Okay. To get you guys engaged here, question from us to you this week is what is your favorite Final Fantasy cover art, and what is your least favorite Final Fantasy cover art?
All right, that's a great question.
I believe it is, and that's why I asked it twice. So, guys, get on the forums. You can go to ultimafinalfantasy.com, click on the forums tab, and that'll bring you there, and you can log in, or I believe you can post as a guest, maybe. And you can answer that question there. It's just in the questions from us to you area in Ultima Final Fantasy. You can check out our other shows if you want. You can go to nudeclan.net for Nude Clan. We got, what's our other one? The Godzilla podcast. You can also check out if you like Godzilla. And we now have a Dragon Quest podcast on the network. So if you like Caleb Craig and you want to bitch at him, a good place to go is the the Puff Puff Hour, which is now on iTunes. So look for Puff Puff on the iTunes search bar, and you should be able to find it.
What they should have done is they should have reviewed Dragon Quest while really high. Everyone just gets super high.
Just make it the Puff Puff Hour, right?
That would have been a fucking great podcast.
Or a really boring one.
Yeah.
It can go either way.
They're just eating chips the whole time or some shit. They're just all munchied. Yeah.
And check those out. If you want to support the show, you can go to ultimafinalfantasy.com, click on the Patreon link, and support us on Patreon there. Thank you very much to our people who support us on Patreon. You can also go to the Amazon link, click through that, buy your stuff, and we get a small kickback, and it doesn't cost you anything. We really appreciate that as well. And then, of course, we have a PayPal link for those who want to just give directly to the show on their own time.
It's great ways to support us. Thank you to Wendy Lynn and James McKeon and Patrick Lenehan for your recent pledges via the Patreon. That's a great place to support us. And follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy. Joe's been playing.
I have been playing.
Pretty regularly on the Final Fantasy Tactics. Kind of sounds like shit, but it's, I guess, the mix in the game being converted through. I don't know. It's weird.
It is. I don't hear it in the headphones at all. It's only when it goes through that converter.
I fucking don't understand it, but whatever.
It's just emphasizing a sound that is really quiet normally.
Okay.
That's what's going on. So it's not like that sound doesn't exist. It exists. I swear. Then there's you can talk to us on Twitter as well. We're on there pretty regularly. I'm at Joseph DeGaulier.
I'm at UFF Podcast.
And you can argue our album rankings on Metallica.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Metallica Podcast.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.
Till then, enjoy the Metallica grind.
Yes. Ooh, yeah.